Coming up on Gillette World Sport Today, we're pitching up in southern Spain for the final event of the European Tour. Taking a masterclass in kicking with England's Johnny Wilkinson. And spend 48 hours at the Double Decathlon World Championships. But first, it's Destination France as we join 14,000 fans at the Palais Omnisport in Paris for the last round of this year's Tennis Masters Series. The final of the week-long tournament in the French capital saw Britain's Tim Henman taking on Andrei Pavel of Romania over the best-of-5-set match. Of the two players, Henman had the toughest route to the final, having to overcome former French Open champion Gustavo Kuerten and Wimbledon winner Roger Federer in the early rounds. He then had to get past world number 1 Andy Roddick in the semis to reach his first Masters Series final since Indian Wells in 2002. We join the final in the second set, Henman having won the opening one with ease. The 29-year-old British player is 5-4 up, but trailing 15-30 on his serve.
But now he's got it again, another break point. And he's got the crowd right behind him now, the Romanian. And there it is. He's back.
Both players then held serve to send the set into a tie-break, which we join with Henman leading 5-3.
Oh, what a pity.
6-4, Henman.
Well, what does that tell you?
6-6, 6-5, Henman. Six all.
Oh, brilliant. And he's done it again.
Despite trailing 2-0, Pavel wouldn't give up and took Henman to another tiebreak in the third set.
Oh yes, there was a gap. Perfect. Oh dear.
5-1.
No footwork at all on that forehand. No answer to that.
Thank you. 5-2, Henman.
No, too good.
S'il vous plaît.
4 championship points. He's done it. Absolute joy on Henman's face and on those of his supporters. A first Master Series title at last.
We head off around the globe now to bring you some of the sporting events making the headlines. First up, news from the USA at round 5, the penultimate round of Jet Sprinting's World Championship held at the LA Bois Raceway. In the final head-to-head, New Zealand's defending champion Peter Bryant set a blistering final lap time of 50.94. The pressure proved too much for challenger fellow Kiwi Rodney Poeo, who pushed his boat to the limit. A 70-mile-per-hour crash leaving his victory chances in tatters and handing Bryant a record of 5 out of 5 wins so far this season. The X-Adventure Raid Series drew to a close, holding its final stage on the island of New Caledonia. Only 19 teams completed the 190-kilometer multidiscipline endurance course, but with a faultless display of stamina and teamwork, it was Britain's Saab Salomon outfit who finally ran home with the honors, the torrential rain not dampening their spirits on the finish line. However, it was France's Lézard Cachau second this time round who took a deserved victory in the overall championship, having dominated the series all year. Switzerland's Daniela Muley and USA's Adam Smith have won the first indoor competition of the Nokia Snowboard FIS World Cup in Landgraf, Holland. In the final of the parallel slalom, 21-year-old Muley relegated fellow countrywoman Ursula Bruin to second place. Meanwhile, Adam Smith dominated the men's competition, holding off Austria's Stefan Kaltschutz in the final to take the first podium finish of his career. And finally, in Malaysia, 4-time world superbike champion Carl Fogarty has unveiled the Petronas FP1. With 127 brake horsepower, it's the world's first ever race-to-road developed superbike. We're pitching up in southern Spain now as we head to the fairways of the Club de Golf Valderrama for the final event on the European Tour, the Volvo Masters Andalusia. Day 1, and Sweden's Fredrik Jakobsen stormed to an early lead, notching up an incredible 8 under par 64 in the first round. That gave him a 2-stroke lead over Denmark's Anders Hansen. Resuming play after torrential rain on day 2, Jakobsen held on to his lead, carding a 1 under par 71 for a 9 under par total. Spaniard Carlos Rodiles from nearby Malaga moved from 3rd to 2nd place when he birdied 5 holes on the back 9, putting him in contention 2 shots behind Jakobsen on 7 under par. Hopes of back-to-back titles in Andalusia for Colin Montgomery faded. The defending champion was on 1 under par and 9 behind after round 3. In the battle for the end-of-year Order of Merit, a 1 over par for Northern Ireland's Darren Clarke handed South Africa's Ernie Els the number 1, Clarke having to settle for 2nd. At the title end, the Volvo Masters Andalusia was fast becoming a 2-horse race, the lead seesawing between the Swede Jakobsen and Spaniard Rodiles in round 3. Rodiles holed for a birdie on the 18th to ensure a share of the lead heading into the 4th round. On 206 and 10 under par, the pair were a comfortable 6 strokes ahead of Hansen in 3rd. But disaster struck for Jakobsen on the 17th.
A gust of breeze just coming up as he played that shot, and well, there's only one place for that.
The resulting double bogey to Rodiles' chip and birdie putt put the Spaniard in contention.
Suddenly, Rodiles leads by 2.
But Rodiles hooked his tee shot on the 18th. While Jakobsen birdied to take the contest into extra time.
For the 2nd year running, it's a playoff.
So after 72 holes, the match was deadlocked and remained that way after a further 3. We rejoin the action on the 4th playoff hole.
So, the 4th hole in the playoff, and the 3rd time on the 18th tee.
It's been a long, tiring day.
All right.
He is super fit, Rodiles, one of the fittest players on tour, but that one's gone away to the right, and there is no way he can get it on the green from there.
And Jakobsen, who's hung on, but now his chance, going with the 3-wood again.
He's always been on the back foot on the playoff holes so far, having to chip and putt to save pars most of the time. That one, though, ideally placed, just clipped the branches as it came around the corner of the dogleg, but now ideal.
Jakobsen furthest from the hole, so we'll play his second shot first.
72 yards away, 7-iron in his hand. It's certainly getting a little murky in terms of the light.
Stay there.
Brilliant. A killer blow maybe for Jakobsen, because he knows that Rodilas has no chance of getting on the green. He now has a chance for a 3.
Well, there's just no way through.
But he's going to have a go, Steve, with a 2-iron. But this is a real hit and hoper.
He has to hit and hope. Oh, a little bit fortunate in many ways. On the fairway. His wife looks on.
Carmen looking pretty anxious as Carlos plays this third shot. Really does commit himself to the impact every single time, and this time it doesn't draw in. And a wonderful reception by a terrific crowd here at Andalusia for this final event of the season.
Maybe a last throw of the dice for Rodilas. Had to go for it. And so Freddie Jakobsen has 2 putts to win the Volvo Masters Andalusia.
Now has a chance to become the first Swede ever to win 3 events in a season.
And they say if you've got 2 putts, take them. Freddie Jakobsen is a winner.
After the break, we're at the Double Decathlon World Championships. And we're in Valencia at the final round of the MotoGP season. Welcome back. It's athletics now as we head to St. Pölten in Austria to take on one of the most grueling tests on the international sporting calendar. Mark Webster reports.
At next summer's Olympic Games, it's going to take nearly a week and a half to complete all 20 track and field events. However, there is a non-Olympic competition that manages to pack all that and more into the space of just 2 days.
The double decathlon is all 18 Olympic track and field events, plus the additional events of the 200-metre hurdles and the 3,000 metres. So there's every event from 100 metres up to 10,000 metres on the track, and all the field events from high jump to hammer.
We call it the toughest athletic competition of the world. You can do a harder athletic competition. It's the last adventure of athletics.
The idea of trying to complete 20 events in 48 hours might seem madness to most people, but this year's Double Decathlon World Championships in Austria attracted more than 50 competitors from 13 countries.
There's a lot of athletes out here who have tried the decathlon, they've tried ultra events, triathlons and other running events, and they see this as a new challenge. 20 events in 2 days, and if you add up all the distance, you're running more than a half marathon.
Day 1 of the competition got underway at 9 in the morning, following the normal decathlon timetable of the 100 metres and long jump. But that's where the similarities ended, with the field completing the 200 metres hurdles and shot put before rounding off the morning session with a gruelling 5,000 metre test.
The endurance athletes tend to be favoured a bit in this, but then you say to an endurance athlete, right, 2 of the events you're going to do, you're going to throw the hammer, which some of them struggle to pick the thing up, never mind whiz it around the heads and then throw it, and then the other thing they really struggle with is the pole vault, because that's quite a technically difficult event. I heard it at the opening ceremony that some of them will have high jumped higher than they will pole vault.
Not that the competition is simply a gimmick, with Double Decathlon attracting the likes of 4-time Olympian George Wertner. But it was the 21-year-old Palm Brow of Estonia who was making all the early headlines, having built up an 840-point lead by the end of the first morning.
Everyone looked at him and thought, yes, he'll be very powerful in the sprints, a very powerful thrower, and he'll just die when we do the distance events. And he didn't. He hangs in there and he drags that great frame of his round, and I think he's really a star of the future.
Brow continued to pile up the points in the afternoon, combining top 7 finishes in the 4 and 800 metres with a third-placed hammer throw and victory in the high jump. But even he was showing the strain by the time the 3,000 metre steeplechase brought day one to a close. The next morning wasn't going to offer any respite either, with athletes getting a rude awakening to the sound of the 110 metre hurdles gun.
The distances they ran yesterday are far greater than they would run in the full 2 days of a decathlon anyway. So if you look around the breakfast hall this morning, there's some very, very stiff legs and some very strange walks wandering about, and it takes them quite a long time to get the legs loosened off and just get them going again.
The hardest part is on the second day after the pole vault, because then you realize that you only have to do 6 events, but you have to run 16k.
Before the pole vault, however, competitors had to complete the discus event and 200 metres challenge. By event 15, the 3,000 metres, the contest had begun to take its toll on some of the early favourites, like South Africa's Martin Ploos.
It started off pretty okay with the first event. The second event I pulled a groin, but I came all the way here to compete, so in spite of that I decided to finish and see how it goes.
With just 15 minutes between events, there wasn't much time to rest injuries. Some of the more experienced competitors, like two-time medalist Peter Coates of Great Britain, had adopted a more cautious approach.
I think my strength is just basically mediocre at everything. There's no real event where I'm way down, and I think that's how I pick up the points on the middle distance and like 4s and 8s sort of thing.
1,500 metres and a triple jump event later, exhaustion had really begun to set in. But as the athletes tackled the final and most dreaded event, the 10,000 metres, nothing short of injury was going to stop Palm Brow from taking the gold medal. But there was still plenty on the line for the rest of the field, with Peter Coates just 48 points behind compatriot Lee Manville in the battle for second place.
This man here, just saying, if you lap him twice you'll get silver. So I was like, where's he at, where's he at? And I lapped him twice, so it's going to be close I think for silver and bronze, or at least 2 Brits have got the silver and bronze. That's the main thing.
Indeed, that was enough to settle the fight for the minor medals, but the real champion of the day was Estonian all-rounder Palm Brow.
I'm almost dead, but I'm happy because I won this competition and life goes on.
Next, we're taking a masterclass in the art of kicking. While the most famous right foot in football might belong to Real Madrid star David Beckham, it's another dead ball specialist who's hoping to lead England to World Cup glory. The Rugby World Cup is underway in Australia, and Johnny Wilkinson is already scoring freely. When it comes to kicking penalties, there's no cooler customer.
There's lots riding on it, but at the same time, as long as what I tend to do is draw my confidence from, sort of mentally feeling confident and seeing the result almost happen before I do it, and also from the work that goes on out in the practice field. It's a dead ball situation. It's not like during the game when you can't actually prepare for what the opposition are doing. I know that when I get a penalty kick at goal, the opposition will be 10 yards away. It'll be the ball on the tee, as I have it always when I'm practicing, and the posts are the same width. Yeah, and therefore, the only thing that is different is where the kick's from. Certain keys that I work off technically, with the position of my body's in, the way I hit the ball, my run up, my approach, everything, that allows me to be in control of the ball. It's not a case of seeing the post and saying, right, this needs to go through the post. It's actually a case of saying, right, I'm going to hit this, and it's going to hit this exact dot, as it were. It's almost like you imagine a wire is attached from that spot to the ball, and all you're trying to do is send it along that trajectory, along that rope, as it were, that takes it right to that area. And you like to feel that when you turn up on match day, you're in as much control of the ball as you can be, and that you can say, right, I need this to go there, and it does go there.
We are burning rubber in Spain now as we take the fast track to Valencia for the 16th and final round of the MotoGP Championship. With the title already in the bag, the 24-year-old champion, Valentino Rossi, set out to break a duck at the 4-kilometer Ricardo Tormo circuit, the only current GP venue that the Italian had yet to conquer in the Premier class. The Italian got off to a flying start, taking his 9th pole position of the season, his 15th front row from 16 Grand Prix.
30 laps of the Ricardo Tormo circuit. The end of the season for MotoGP, and a great start by Loris Capirossi on the Ducati. Capirossi in second place, and it's Valentino Rossi that leads the way. But here comes Capirossi on the brakes. Rossi up the inside, but it's Capirossi now that leads the way. The Ducati leads the Hondas here at Valencia. Capirossi leads, Valentino Rossi in second place. His 22-year-old teammate Nicky Hayden in second place. Sete Gibernau third, Max Biaggi fourth. Rossi now takes the lead. Capirossi tries to close with him, but Valentino Rossi, chasing his 9th Grand Prix victory of the season, leads the way from his great friend and his great rival, Loris Capirossi. What a battle we have for third place. Gibernau and Hayden almost touch. Hayden is just going to hang on to third place as they plunge down the start and finish straight. Hayden in third place. Gibernau in fourth, and Hayden's gone. Hayden crashes out at turn 1 after his first front row start. Here comes Sete Gibernau moving up into second place in front of Loris Capirossi. Gibernau, winner of 4 Grand Prix already this season. Rossi due to leave Honda at the end of this season and join Yamaha. What a swan song this will be for the 24-year-old Italian. Gibernau closes on Rossi, slipstreams him into turn 1 and takes the lead. Gibernau leads, listen to the crowd. Rossi in second place. Capirossi hanging on desperately in third. Rossi thinks about going around the outside, no way through. 121,000 fans are on their feet. Their local hero leads the race. Rossi now fights back. Almost touches the rear wheel there of Sete Gibernau. Now will he do a Gibernau? Exactly the same manoeuvre as Gibernau did on him the previous lap, and Rossi now leads the way. Sete Gibernau second. Loris Capirossi third, coming under pressure from Max Biaggi. With that throttle hand of Valentino Rossi. 3 fingers on that front brake as he brakes for turn 1. Third gear left-hander. Rossi now watched by 5 times world champion Nick Doohan. But Rossi now pulling away from Sete Gibernau. Valentino Rossi, the king of MotoGP, prepares to take his 9th victory of the season. He bows out in typical style both the 2003 season and after 4 years with Honda.
So the 2003 world champion winning his 9th race of the year and gaining a record 22 consecutive podium finishes. Next week, the climax of the World Rally Championships at the Rally Great Britain. And there'll be goals galore from the Brazilian Championships.